Hello, everyone, and welcome to Family Law Fridays presented by Florida Women's Law Group. My name is Jadlyn Fleischer, and I'm a legal intern here at Florida Women's Law Group. Family Law Fridays is designed to be a resource for all women with any type of family law issue. Today, we will be continuing our 7-part series, Suffering in Silence. We will be discussing Part 7, which is Living with Guilt or Shame over Divorce. Now, before we get started, I would like to give you some information about our host, Heather Quick. Heather is the founder and CEO of Florida Women's Law Group, which is a family law firm that advocates for women in North Florida. The firm educates and empowers women on their rights and the law so they can find the strength to endure the process and end up better financially and emotionally. She has been a licensed Florida attorney for the past 20 years, with the majority of her practice over the years being in family law. Now, please join me in welcoming Heather Quick to Family Law Fridays.
Thank you, JD, and thank you all so much for joining us today. As we wrap up this series, I am hopeful it's been helpful, informative, and given you a new perspective, maybe on issues that you have dealt with for many years or know folks who have, and now able to better understand either someone else's situation or your situation. So today, we're going to focus on suffering in silence again, on issues of shame and or guilt. And again, like I said in the last one, where we talk about suffering in silence, you're in this marriage and you do not have anyone to talk to. You feel alone because you're not sure that anyone would understand. And you may not want to share your personal business with them. So there's a lot of confusion. And with that leads to loneliness because you may be surrounded by a house full of people, but there's no one you can truly share this pain that you are going through with. And that is what we consider suffering in silence, and issues that we deal with on a daily basis with so many women who are really challenged in this area and feel so alone. And at Florida Women's Law Group, we're here for you. And we have heard so many of these stories. We appreciate that the topics that resonate with you and able to sit with you and really understand your particular situation and what solutions are available for you and how you create your better life. Today we're going to talk a bit about guilt and shame, and they are not the same. And most people I know, but not everybody, has heard of Brené Brown. And I say that because she's done a lot of work on guilt and shame and has written some amazing books that are wonderful, and they deal with vulnerability. But she clearly, for me, defined the difference. And I think it's helpful as we get into this conversation to define the differences based on what she's defined it as. So shame it's really more personal. Like, I am bad. I'm a loser. I'm staying in this marriage. I'm not worth anything. I'm worthless. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not, I'm not in a functional family. So it's more like I am, and then the negativity. Whereas guilt is, I did something bad. I made a mistake. That was really, crappy of me to do that. And all right, you move on. And guilt sometimes can be a bit maybe more productive, because if you recognize it, feel it, and then move on. Whereas shame, it really digs into your self-esteem and can erode a lot of your ability to move forward in a different direction. So, when we're in a marriage, and everybody gets married for different reasons, and usually love is one of those, but there are a lot of other reasons. It's the right time. I'm at the right age. I'm pregnant. Everybody wants me to get married. We've been dating for so long. Like, I hate to, what a waste that would be if I didn't marry this person. And I know that sounds silly, but I mean, we all know that's true. There are a lot of reasons. So when we're looking at those reasons, and then all of a sudden 5, 10 years go by, 15, 20, and you wake up one your day and like, what am I doing? We are no longer partners. We're no longer really even friends or intimate or any feelings. We just are roommates and we're just going through the motions. And that's when, the guilt and shame comes in, because you may really feel like a bad person for staying in this marriage. You may have strayed outside the marriage. And we talked about, the infidelity on either side, because the two of you are no longer connecting. And so then that can create guilt and shame, both differently. It depends on, where you are at that time. But many times you are too ashamed to leave the marriage because for all outward appearances, it seems fine. It's like we look like a great family. Our Christmas cards are so perfect. Everybody's happy, smiling. The kids are doing well in school. We both have good jobs. We have a nice house in the neighborhood, and check box after box after box out of all the things you're supposed to do. But there's something lacking inside. And so then that's where you may have the conflict of the feelings, but no one would understand if I left because everything seems so perfect. Our families would be, really distraught if we split. And many times, both you and your husband feel this way. You recognize that the marriage is no longer serving either one of you or your children. And it's not healthy for either one of you or your children, but you don't know how to take that next step because you do feel guilty. You feel as though I either am leaving the marriage for the wrong reasons, or I got into the marriage for the wrong reasons. And now I don't know how to get out of it and, save our reputation without feeling humiliated, embarrassed, feeling ashamed, feeling like you did something wrong, either by getting into the marriage or by trying or getting out. And there's not an easy answer for any of this. Sometimes when something, I don't know if drastic is the right word, but a life event, a definite infidelity, an addiction, things that are very straightforward and noticeable, you feel as though, oh, hey, my friends and family will feel I'm justified. Not how you feel necessarily. Many people repair after those things. Many people don't. No one can dictate for you what makes your marriage work or not, and what you can forgive and move through or not. And that is the reality. And so that's a hard thing to struggle with, though, when we, everything from the outward appearances always look great. Of course, we talked about this before in the videos. That's why it's suffering in silence. You're not out there airing your dirty laundry to everybody. These are things that are going on inside you, your heart, your mind, and within the marriage that no one else really knows about, and no one else really understands how you feel. And that's part of the problem, the lack of understanding of others that you perceive to be. I believe that when we are able to be vulnerable with those who we truly love and trust, they can be supportive, but not everybody has that. And so therefore what we're talking about is the counseling. This is something that can really, in this particular situation where you're really it's the guilt and the shame. And maybe you're like, well, when our last child goes to college, or, after this baby is born for, our son, things like that. There's like, you're looking to the future then that will be a good time. Well, it may, but maybe now is the right time. And it's just not, you're not clear. counseling can be very helpful for you to identify within yourself, take responsibility in a positive way for both the positive and negative things in the marriage, and help you create a healthy outlook on your future with things that you do want to achieve, whether it's in the marriage or not. So the counseling might be couples counseling and it might not. And it may give you that sense of peace. Earlier in the discussion, I mentioned both you and your husband both know it. You're both like, why are we still here? This isn't working for either one of us. But you're sticking it out, either for your parents, your kids, your friends, your social network, and you just don't want to answer those difficult questions. So in that instance, I really would recommend, as I know our clients find that if they are able to go in and have that conversation with a counselor together, they can both find the tools to make the right decisions. And I'm not saying it's to repair the marriage. It could. It's really mostly to work on yourself. And even though it is couples counseling, if the most effective ones I've seen are, it's really me as the wife working on me and how I show up in the relationship, and the husband as, working on himself as he shows up in the relationship. And then you have both worked on yourselves and are showing up differently for one another and for yourselves, frankly. So that's a little different. And it may or may not be work to repair the marriage, but it may provide the two of you with a foundation to have the discussion on what next steps you're going to take and how to take this step without so much shame and guilt that then, is projected onto your children and family, and to do so in a healthy way and effectively continue communication and without as much animosity. That sometimes happens in a divorce. So that really would be, if you're listening to this and you're like, this is me, that would be my first recommendation. Sometimes I say the first recommendation is talk to a lawyer and figure things out. But in this scenario, especially if it's both of you, and really even if it's not, if it's just you, because these are emotional reasons that you're feeling bad about leaving the marriage, to talk with someone who can hopefully validate that you're not crazy, you are a good person, and you're not going to become this horrible bad person, a loser, for moving forward without your husband and in a divorce. That's why I suggest counseling, because the feelings of the guilt of leaving, the being so ashamed, being humiliated, embarrassed, those emotions that may be holding you back at this moment are going to continue to do so in your life, even after the divorce. So dealing with those and becoming clear on what you do want to do and how you want to move forward in your future will really help you. And then you'll have clarity over whether or not you want to talk to a lawyer, or whether you want to have your husband join you in counseling, or whatever you want to do. It, of course, is a wonderful strategy and good planning to, if you're thinking this is the route I'm going, to meet with the attorney, create a strategy for your timing and what you're going to do, and understanding how this will play out for you. This just doing your due diligence with anything, because sometimes we do jump into something and we have to, and it's not a necessity, and it's just at that moment, that's what's required. But many times, if we're able to sit back and plan, we can really make a better, more objective decision. And not to say that emotions aren't involved, but that guilt and shame emotion that this topic we're talking about today, how that prevents you from moving forward that's where getting the clarity and the planning helps with that. It takes a lot of emotional capital to begin the process of a divorce. If you are still struggling so much with a guilt and or shame issues, you may stop, start. And not to say that that's not possible usually, but in my experience, I have found that women who do that, it wears them out. It's very emotionally draining to, all right, I'm ready to go. Let's do everything. Oh no, now when it's time to file or do this, I'm not ready. I can't do it. And then I go back and then back. It's just an emotional roller coaster on yourself. And that just wears you down, either to where then you're not even sure what you're doing or why, or you wait potentially for things to heighten to such a level that it wasn't in the beginning. You kind of foresaw maybe that that's where the relationship was going, but now it's at a different level that is not healthy for either person. So as I say that, it's just because we've been there with so many of our clients, and those are real emotions. I don't expect very many clients to come through without these issues. And our goal here is to guide you to the best spot possible to deal with them. And so that you are in a place to have honest conversations and make decisions about your future. Because if we're not moving forward and growing, essentially we really are dying, and that's not very emotionally sustainable. It doesn't help promote a healthy lifestyle and a positive future. And when you're really moving forward and growing in life, even through the hardest challenges, you're a better person, you're a better role model to your children, a better leader, a better friend, and you gain strength through those struggles, as we all do. And I think just as part of our journey in life. And so I want you to know that I know this is difficult. It's really hard to be sitting there thinking, I don't want to be in this relationship. No one will understand. No one will understand why I'm leaving. And I'll be so embarrassed, the humiliation, everything I'm going to suffer when people find out. That's a difficult place, and I know it feels lonely. And that's why I founded Florida Women's Law Group, so that we can be here for women just like you during these difficult situations and decisions that you're making when you do feel all alone, that we are here for you, and we're here to provide that strength to get you to that next level of really your better self, to where you are really providing all that you can to the ones that you love. And if you find yourself in this situation and really need to talk to someone and want to reach out to us, we are here for you. JD is going to put our information on the screen so that you can reach out and schedule either a strategy session or a consultation and begin moving forward into that better life that you deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather, and to everyone who was able to listen in today for our last part of Suffering in Silence series. We hope you found it helpful, and we hope you enjoyed this series. As Heather said, please reach out to our office, as we are here for you, whether it's another topic you would like addressed or if you are looking for legal help. We are available by phone at 904-241-0012. Thank you, and see you next week.